Welcome to the fifth in our series of Faithful Thursdays for this 2021 Colorado legislative session. I'm Jean Demler, and on behalf of the Presbytery of Denver, invite us all as communities of faith to again engage in God's work of promoting social justice here in Colorado. Our intent as an interfaith coalition is to support our legislators in their work to promote a society in Colorado that dismantles racism, structures moral economy, and seeks equity for all Colorado residents. We gather today by video to highlight common concerns and legislative opportunities about which we seek engagement of all congregants in all our faith traditions. Earlier in this video series, Adrian Miller, Executive Director of the Colorado Council of Churches, reminded us that our faith traditions challenge us to love our neighbors as ourselves, and to recognize that our neighbors are all people, not just those people who reside near us. In this global world of information, we know that many of our neighbors are strangers seeking refuge and asylum. Time and again, the Hebrew and Christian biblical traditions instruct us to love the alien as ourselves and to welcome the stranger. Welcoming those who seek refuge and asylum in the U.S. means not only providing shelter and food, but also ensuring equity under U.S. law. Currently, migrants detained by ICE have the opportunity to plead in U.S. immigration courts that they seek asylum here. Often they are not familiar with the U.S. legal system and cannot speak English fluently, at least fluently enough to clearly understand the processes and developments of their case. Yet, these neighbors most often do not have assistance from public defenders. Others in Colorado who face prosecution for crimes but who can't afford a lawyer are required to have a public defendant available to them. Our moral compass here is God's command, as it is expressed in Leviticus chapter 24, verse 22. You shall have one law for the alien and for the citizen. House Bill 211194, now under consideration by the Colorado legislature, addresses the inequity by creating an immigration legal defense fund. The sponsors of the bill, Representatives Tipper and Ricks and Senator Moreno, have introduced this bill because of the negative impacts of the inequitable situation for migrants and immigrants who do not have funds to pay for legal defense. The bill states, and I quote, "Many people in immigration court proceedings have valid legal claims to remain in the United States, but are unable to argue their cases effectively, absent legal expertise in complex U.S. immigration law. Only 5% of immigration cases were won between 2007 and 2012 without an attorney, while 95% of successful cases involve persons represented by an attorney. That is a stark and disturbing statistic. Unlike other low-income people living in the U.S., immigrants whose incomes are low or migrants in detention who have no income have very limited access to a public defender, and subsequently, the outcomes of their cases are more likely to result in deportation and separation from their families. Immigrants who have legal representation are 3.5 times more likely to be released from detention on bond. The impacts go further. For Colorado employers, such deportations result in employee turnover. Families experience both emotional trauma and often economic hardship. HB 211194 assigns the Colorado Department of Human Services as the administrator of this Immigration Legal Defense Fund, to which nonprofit attorneys across Colorado could apply for grants to serve indigent immigrants and migrants. The bill will be heard in the House Judiciary Committee this coming Tuesday, March 30th at 1:30 p.m. Representative Tipper recently encouraged individuals to email or call her office if they would like to testify in support of the bill. You might also contact your House representative expressing your support. Another advocacy option is with the Colorado Immigrant Rights Coalition. A letter is being circulated in support of the bill. Go to their website, coloradoimmigrant.org, and click on Support for Universal Representation for All. As people of faith, let's take action, and let's take a moment to keep our immigrant neighbors in our prayers and consider how we can bring racial equity for low-income migrant and immigrant families.